Which is better, a lily or a rose? If you ask anyone, the answer will depend on their taste. They might think a rose is better, or maybe a lily, or neither. You might think, who cares? And you're right, it's not even a real argument. But too often, it is. The truth is, each flower has its own unique beauty and essence. You simply cannot compare the two. I may be a lily and she may be a rose. Is a lily better than a rose, or a rose better than a lily? There's no real answer. You can't compare. A rose is beautiful, but its beauty does not diminish the beauty of a lily. A lily does not shrivel down and lose its worth when compared to a rose. Quite frankly, the rose and lily together might make an interesting bouquet. Now, think of all the bouquets you've seen, each of them beautiful in their own right, a unique mix of flowers artfully crafted to complement and balance each other out. Each flower is beautiful on its own, but there is a new kind of beauty when you bring different flowers together and allow them to coexist, complement, and collaborate with each other. There's an enhanced value and beauty that you can't really measure. So, if we're talking about the rose or the lily, and which one is better, let's just say a rose is beautiful and a lily is beautiful. They're incomparable, and it's a waste of time to even try to compare. Instead, let the rose complement the lily and the lily complement the rose. Let them come together to create something even more beautiful. The next time you catch yourself comparing yourself to others, remember this. A flower does not think about competing with the flower next to it. A flower just blooms. Hey guys, so continuing the self-worth mini-series on my channel, let's talk about how to stop comparing ourselves to others, because this is something that I feel like everybody does, and it's so detrimental to our mental health. It just holds us back and it makes us feel less than, it makes us feel not good enough or not worthy, and it's not helpful. So what we got to do is become aware of why we do this and how to stop doing it. So you and I both know that social media has made it so easy to compare ourselves to others because we see perfection every day on our feeds, whether it's beautiful women on Instagram or your friend just like graduated or got nominated on a Forbes list or has a best-selling book. It doesn't matter. Like, people are killing it and they're posting their highlights and achievements and their best selves online that it gets so easy to look at that and look at your life and feel like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? It just makes you feel bad about yourself and you feel less than. If you didn't see my previous video on self-worth, self-esteem, and insecurity, I talked about how comparing yourself to others stems from all this conditioning that we had from our parents, our schooling system, and society conditioning us to compare ourselves to others. So maybe your parents would compare you to your siblings or your cousins or people on TV. And the same thing in school, you felt compared to with your peers. Now that we have access to the internet and social media, we see the best of the best, the highlight reel of the best, the prettiest, the smartest people out there. And we're like, well, what about me? You tend to compare yourself and it's just not doing you any good. Always remember that comparison is the thief of joy, because you might be feeling good about yourself. You might make a small win. Maybe you did really well on your test recently and you're like feeling good about yourself, feeling good about life. And then you open up social media and someone else does something even more epic. And you're like, oh, well, in comparison, what I did is not as cool as what they did. And now I'm back to feeling bad about myself. If you look at the world that way, you are always going to find someone who's better than you at something. Like, just when you thought you were the best, you'll find someone who's better. And that's just how the world is. But on the flip side, there's always someone who's worse than you. So there's always someone better, someone worse than you in a specific area of life. And like, I just feel like you can't judge people that way. You can't categorize life that way, because if you really open up the spectrum of life, like if you look at the big picture, each person lives such a unique life. They have such a unique story, unique upbringing, unique strengths, skills, talents, weaknesses, that if you're comparing yourself to like a separate person, it's impossible to compare like side by side because you're both so different. You came from different backgrounds and one person's better at this, you're better at that. Like, it's just not a fair comparison, and it's not doing you any service to compare yourself that way. I'm not saying that comparison is completely bad, because in some cases comparison is helpful. It can be beneficial to your life. If you're seeing what others are doing, you can learn from them, you can be inspired by them. I think when comparison hurts you is what we really need to be looking at. And so there's a difference in whether comparison is helpful or not helpful. And it all boils down to your foundation of self-worth. If you are a person that does not feel worthy, you have low self-esteem, then seeing other people's success will make you feel less than, sad. It'll make you feel bad about yourself, and it's gonna just bring you down, and it's not helpful. And that's the type of comparison that I'm addressing in this video, what we're gonna try to overcome. But if you are a person who feels worthy, who's super confident and has high self-esteem, then seeing other people's success is going to inspire you and motivate you and show you that it's possible to get there because they did it, meaning you can do it too, and it's positive. So do you see the difference in like comparison? You can be comparing yourself to people and it can hurt you if you have low self-esteem. But if you have higher self-worth and self-esteem, then seeing that same person will have a positive effect on you. Then you can learn to improve and be inspired by them. So it all boils down to working on yourself. If you want to stop comparing yourself to others in a way that hurts you, then you have to look within and ask yourself, okay, why do I not feel worthy? Why do I not feel good enough? Why am I insecure? Again, I'm going to refer you to the previous video because I really broke it down, how to build up your self-worth and how to overcome your insecurities. Because once you have like a stronger sense of self-worth, then you're not going to be as hurt by seeing what other people are doing because you stand strong in yourself and you know that regardless of what's happening in the external world, like you're good, you love yourself and you're strong. Another point that I have to make is so often we let other people's success and other people's light diminish our own. We shrink ourselves next to people that we think are better than us. We shrink ourselves because we're like, oh my God, this person is so amazing and blah, 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 and I am not worthy. I'm not like on the same level as them. Reality check, there are no levels in terms of who's worthier than the other person, who's better than the other person, because like I mentioned, everyone is unique. Everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses, and like you just can't compare one person with another. You just cannot. What we need to do is stop shrinking ourselves and feeling less than other people because we are just as worthy. And we should stop like attacking people out of insecurity. Some people, when they're insecure, they attack on people who are successful and seem like they have it all together, and they inherently want to bring them down. And that is just not healthy because that just stems from your own insecurity. You think that you are down here, and when you see someone doing well in life, you want to like bring them down. It happens. So what you have to realize is that one person's success, beauty, light, strengths, gifts, talents, everything does not diminish what you have. You are unique. You have your own set of strengths, gifts, talents, life experience, everything that makes you amazing, beautiful, and so worthy. Like, it is your own. Nobody else has the exact copy of what you have. And so you are worthy, and don't feel diminished by other people's worth and other people's light, because what we should do instead is like support each other. Like, it's not a competition, it's a community. And if you think about it in terms of the flowers, like different types of flowers are all inherently beautiful and worthy in their own way. And some people might prefer certain types of flowers over others, and that's okay because it's just a matter of taste. But the power is when you bring a bouquet of flowers together, like different flowers, and they come together as a community to make something bigger and better and more beautiful than they were when they were standing alone. And That's the same as with people. When we come together as a community, work together and lift each other up rather than like competing and comparing ourselves to each other and bringing each other down, the world just functions so much better and with more positivity and more love and support. And that's what we need. We need to like stop comparing ourselves to each other in the sense that like the world is a competition and you're trying to like be better than the other, but rather just look within, work on yourself. Find it in yourself to work on like your self-love, to boost your self-worth, and to truly believe in yourself. That is your duty as a human being and a soul on this planet, is to learn to believe in yourself and your own worth. And only then can you feel like at a good place to lift each other up. So just work on yourself. Know that you cannot be compared to anyone else. The only comparison you should be doing is with your older self. You want to constantly be improving and be better than the you that you were yesterday. But outside of that, the journey is here within. And once you get to a good place, you'll notice the shift in your thinking, that when you see other people succeed, it inspires you and motivates you rather than making you feel less than. So I'm going to share an exercise that you guys can do to reprogram your mind to stop comparing and stop that negative self-talk and criticism, and rather like flip it, rewrite it for positive thinking and thinking thoughts that support you. So you want to monitor your thoughts for the next 3 days. So keep a journal close to you or just write it in your phone whenever you notice yourself comparing yourself to someone else. Like write it down. Write down, what was it that triggered your comparison thought? What was the exact thought that you thought? What were the words that you used in your head? And just like keep note of this for 3 days. And after the 3 days is up, you'll have a list of the times that you compared yourself with others and felt less than and felt insecure. So after you have your list of negative thoughts that you're thinking, it's time to refute and rewrite those negative thoughts into positive ones that actually help you and serve you in your life. So with each negative thought, and you'll notice that it tends to be the same recurring thoughts about yourself, like I'm not pretty enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, or whatever it may be, you'll notice patterns, and then you can start to like literally change that thought, replace it with a positive one, and then repeat those positive thoughts, literally like drill it into your mind by repeating them like every morning, every evening. Keep them as like a positive affirmations list on your phone so that you refer to it as often as you can, because the way to like reprogram your thoughts is to step 1, become aware of them, and then step 2 is like to like actually just decide to change, because your mind is powerful, but you have control over your mind if you choose to do that. And it's just a matter of changing your mind. Sounds easy. I mean, it could be easy or it could be hard depending on how you want to look at it, but what you're essentially doing is retraining your thought patterns. And it's similar to building a new habit. You guys know how to build a new habit. Hopefully you watched my habit series, but you start with one habit and then you just like work on the repetition and the consistency of that habit. And if you fall off, like just forgive yourself and try again when you can. So it's the same thing with these like thoughts. You're not going to be perfect. You're going to find yourself slipping into like those negative thoughts and self-criticisms, but you now have the tools to rewrite those thoughts, and you have the positive affirmations that you can just repeat to yourself again and again. And I talked about this in my morning habits video, that the best times to reprogram your thoughts and your subconscious mind is right before you fall asleep and right upon waking. Other times are during meditation and sometimes even during exercise. Anyway, I'll post links to articles about that because it has to do with like neuroscience and the state that your brain is in during those activities. I believe it's called theta brain state. I'm not a scientist, I'm not an expert at this, but I do know that repetition works, okay? So give it a try and let me know how it goes. And let me know your comments down below if you have any other tips and tricks for people to stop comparing themselves to others. For example, like get off social media. If you notice a specific app or a specific account that just makes you feel bad about yourself, just cut it out. Literally cut it out. Get off. Unfollow, do what you have to do to distance yourself from it, and try to build up those better positive habits, positive thoughts on the way to a better life, so that you're not held back by comparing yourself to others. Because seriously, we are better when we each believe in ourselves and when we can work together, when we can support and lift each other up. So that's the goal with all of this. Love you guys so much. Let me know what you think of these self-worth videos lately. And if you have any topic suggestions for the future, leave them down below. See you next time. Bye.